Hi guys, my name is Vikas. I'm a PT trainer here in Bangalore, India. Today I'm going to give you some tips, techniques and methods that you could use to get full marks on the summarized written text question type of the writing section. Now this is a fairly difficult question type, guys. You know, the size of the text that is presented in front of you could go from large to very large. Regardless of that, just go ahead, use the method that I've given you here. It's a tested and proven method, and it's also a relatively easier one. So if you're finding difficulties with this section, stay tuned in, make notes. I've also given you a couple of examples that you could practice here. If you found this video useful, please go ahead and subscribe. If you have any questions or queries, please leave a comment below. This is Vikas from PTE Tutorials. Thank you.
Alright guys, let's get started. So today we're going to learn some methods and some techniques that we could use to get full marks on the slightly relatively difficult task, I would say, of summarize written text. This comes as the first part of your writing section. Before we dive into the methods and techniques, let's quickly understand the scoring. You will be judged on the content that you write, the form, grammar that you use, and vocabulary. The form mainly consists that you write less than 75 words and it should be a single sentence. Now that we know a fair bit of scoring, let's understand some important techniques. Alright, just before we understand the methods and techniques, have a look at an example here so you just get a brief idea of how your question will look like. Guys, remember, you will have only 10 minutes, your precious 10 minutes. Alright, so this might seem like a daunting task when you look at this huge paragraph here. But don't worry, regardless of what the topic is or how big the text could be, you could use the methods that I'm going to give you and quickly summarize the written text. Alright, so before I explain a little more in detail the examples, what we could do right now is let's just quickly understand the methods so you could apply it while practicing. Okay? So let's just quickly start with the method. The method mainly consists of reading, writing, and editing. Yes, it's a simple three-step process. Let's see how we could do it. Right? Have a look at this example once again. You read, you write, and then you just quickly edit. Okay? Let's move to the method. So the first part, which is the reading, since this task is timed, you have only about 10 minutes, so take about 2 minutes for you to complete reading. I would recommend that you skim read the text so you just get a quick idea as to what the topic is about. It could be about a particular research or some lecture or a science topic, global warming, anything, right? So once you skim read it, you'll get a quick understanding of what the topic is, and then you can start doing an in-depth reading. Remember guys, while you're doing an in-depth reading, make sure that you have your pen and paper handy and start writing. And what you're going to write here are the important keywords. Now you could split the write section into 2 minutes and 4 minutes, or probably 2 minutes to just quickly write it on your paper, or you could directly write it on the computer, doesn't matter. So note down the important keywords. Could be nouns, verbs, and adjectives, right? Important names of people, names of places, names of universities, right? All kinds of nouns. What does the noun doing? So make a note of the verbs. Is he playing? Is he walking? And adjectives. Is he a tall person, short person? Just what describes the noun. You will have to understand who did what exactly happened, where, when, how. So what I'm trying to tell you here is, once you read the text, you will understand what are the keywords and what you should cover. right? So the next part is your editing part. We'll get to that in a later a later stage. All you'll have to do here is just check for quick grammatical errors and spelling mistakes, right? Make sure your spellings are consistent. Do not use especially with the plural forms, singular forms, and where you use Z and S, right? So some of the techniques that will be important and that you'll have to remember is, guys, you should not exceed 75 words. My recommendation is that no matter how big the text is, please try and finish it within 40 words. The reason I'm telling you this is because the bigger the sentence gets, it gets more complex, and a complex sentence tends to have more grammatical errors, and we don't want to lose marks on grammar. So stick to a 40 words at max, I would say. All right, so now that you know that you have to write within 40 words, make sure that you're not stealing information. I do understand that you'll have to summarize the written text. What I'm trying to tell you here is you'll have to rephrase the same thing. All right, so if the text says John went to the park for a walk, you could probably rewrite it as John walks on the park, something like that, right? So yep, one other golden rule is that you strictly write in a single sentence. If you use the full stop and write it in 2 sentences, even if it's less than 40 words, you will not be graded. It's a complete 0. Yep. And how you're going to achieve it is by using conjunctions, conditional clauses, and relative clauses. Guys, if you look at this sentence, this point here, I've given you quite a few conjunctions, conditional clauses, and relative clauses that you could use as connecting words, right? The examples could be for, and, not, but, or, yet, so, while, where, before, right? You could just make use of all just these words that I've given you here. These are enough to pretty much summarize any kind of text. So make use of this. Just keep it at the back of your mind, so that'll help you summarize the text, right? Remember, guys, you have to read, you have to write, and then you'll have to edit. Make sure that it's less than 40 words. I know the limit is 75 words, so try and keep it less than 40. Don't give too many details. You could just quickly use the few keywords that you've already noted down and quickly write in one single sentence. Okay, now let's just quickly switch to the example so you could apply the method that I've mentioned here. Okay, guys, what you could also do is you could use the methods that I've given you here. You could pause it, make a note of it, go back to the example here, pause the video, use the text that I've given you here. You could leave your own version of the summarized text in the comment. I will check and evaluate it for you guys. Yep, so I go ahead and pause the video, and you could do your own version of summarizing written text. Guys, this is about low labor in the United States, and how there's a paradigm shift to Asian countries for cheaper labor and things like that. Once you read through it, you could have a look at this version of summarized text in case you're not getting a clear picture. So this is example number 1. All right, so once you're done with this, move on to example number 2. You could pause the video, use the text that's given here, mention your own version of summarized text. Okay, I will look forward to your comments. I hope this video was useful. Please use the methods that I've given you. You will certainly get complete marks for your written text. You will have to practice this. This is a relatively a more difficult task, I would say, so you will have to focus a little more than the other questions. All right, guys, thank you for your time today. This is Vikas for the PTE lectures, signing off. You guys have a great day. Thank you.